Greeno from Greeno's Family Garage, home of the Brass Hammer. This is for entertainment purposes only. Ensure a qualified person performs this job. Is this you? No crank, no start, and a corroded battery terminal. The problem could just be the corrosion. See the green stuff on the negative terminal? This is corrosion big time. Now we see the battery we are working on today. The terminals look much better, right? Continue watching to find out my secret process. Reminder, you will lose some of the memory in your car, like radio stations, etc. Read your owner's manual before disconnecting the battery. Professionals use 12-volt sources that they plug into the cigarette lighter to maintain memory in the car. Now, again, batteries are dangerous. The gas from the battery can explode. Acid can cause serious burns. Acid will disintegrate your clothing. It will disintegrate it. Do not place any metal touching both battery terminals at the same time, as it will short out the battery and can cause a fire. It's just like a welder, and you don't want to go near that. Use safety glasses. Don't burn your eyes out. Use safety gloves. Don't burn your hands. Needed items for this procedure include shop rags, or you could use any clean rags at home. Paper towels, again, you could use some clean rags at home in place of the paper towels that I use. Do not use anything but distilled water around a battery. If regular tap water makes its way into the battery cells could get ruined, and you don't want that to happen. We will use a battery cleaner with an acid indicator. You can also mix up a paste using baking soda and water to save money. We will also use silicone paste. It's a dielectric grease. You can buy, and I have it in a large container, but you can buy it in small packages at your local auto parts store. Now there are sprays out there, for battery protection, but I use NCP2, battery corrosion preventative. It's like a grease. Another option to this is actually to use grease, like a wheel bearing grease. We will use these battery terminal protectors. I like these. I call them donuts. They go between the bottom of the battery post and the battery cable terminal. They protect the terminal and post from off-gassing from the space between the battery post and the battery case. You can buy a small packet of these at your auto parts supplier. You don't have to have a large store like I do. Now get a small wire brush. Any small wire brush will do. I use terminal and terminal post brushes also. These are a necessity. I have different ones, but you can just pick up one style, pretty inexpensive at any automotive parts store. You will need a 1/4-inch ratchet with the socket appropriate for your battery terminals. This case, we're using a 9mm socket on a 2005 Ford Explorer. Now I want to show you the battery we are going to clean the terminals on. The terminals on this battery were cleaned 2 to 3 years ago, using the same process I am demonstrating today. Now 2 or 3 years is plenty of time for corrosion to get onto the battery terminals. Keep watching as we will see how much corrosion is on the terminals when we spray the battery cleaner with corrosion indicator. Now after you have put on your safety glasses and gloves, we will wipe off the top of the battery with a dry paper towel. Remember, any acid on the battery on your gloves can burn holes in your clothes, and of course, never itch your eyes. Now wet a paper towel with distilled water to help clean the battery top. Using my 1/4-inch 9mm socket, I take off the negative terminal first, wrapping up the end of the negative terminal in a shop towel to protect it from touching the battery post, and I remove the previous corrosion preventative donut. Got to remove the donuts. Remember, your negative terminal comes off first and goes on last. It's very important. Next, take off the positive battery cable terminal and wrap it in a shop rag, just as we did before, to protect against arcing against the battery post. Take off the donut and throw it away. Next, using a paper towel, wipe around the terminal post. Place shop rags over the battery posts to protect them from coming into contact with the cable terminals, or even any of your tools. Next, we will take off the battery cable terminals and use the battery cleaner to clean them. Now here's a great part. Do you see any of the foam turning red? I don't. That's because the terminals do not have corrosion on them. And the reason for that is this process done right. Following this process will help protect from corrosion. May I say, big time. Now let the battery terminal cleaner soak in a little. Next, use the small wire brush to remove the extra debris on the terminals. Notice again the spray did not turn red. That's because there was no acid corrosion on the battery terminals. Next, spray the terminals again just for good measure, then wipe them down with a paper towel. Now we use special wire brushes to clean the inside of the cable terminals. Again, you can buy these very inexpensive at your local auto supply store. Now with the terminals clean, I will cover the battery terminals with a shop rag, again for safety reasons, so they do not touch the battery posts accidentally. Now I place a shop rag over the battery cell covers, so as I spray the battery posts, the terminal cleaner can't go near the battery cell caps and possibly into the battery cells. You do not want the cleaner, you want anything to get into those cells. Now I spray a light coat of cleaner on the battery posts, but I do wipe it off fairly quickly so it doesn't seep into the battery from around the posts. Just wet a paper towel with distilled water and then clean around the posts again. Now I use the battery post cleaner brush to make the battery terminal post look like new. Great conductivity here. Oh yeah. Look at the close-up of a freshly cleaned battery post. Nice. It's electrifying, isn't it? Let's wipe away any filings from the battery post cleaning. Next comes the silicone paste. This is a dielectric grease that allows for metal-to-metal contact for conductivity, but at the same time it also insulates so that corrosion is prevented. It keeps the connection strong. The donuts. Let's put them on the positive and the negative battery terminals. I attach the positive battery terminal to the positive post first using my 1/4-inch ratchet, extension, and a 9mm socket. Tighten but do not over tighten. Make it snug, not super full tight. Do the same for the negative battery cable. Take it out of the shop rag and place it on the negative post. Tighten, but again, don't over tighten these things. Make them snug so they don't move. Now we have protected under the battery cable terminal with a donut. You remember the donut, right? We have protected the post with dielectric silicone paste. And lastly, we will protect the outside of the post and the terminal with the protective paste made especially for this. Look how good those terminals look, and more importantly, how well they'll resist corrosion. Remember when I sprayed battery cleaner on the battery cable terminals and the cleaner did not turn red? This was because I used the same procedure a few years ago. I went back to the same battery to show you that when I applied the cleaner, again, it did not change. That's because the battery terminals did not corrode. This is what happens when you take the time, use this process, and do it right. Done right is just right. And here's a close-up of a completed terminal. The juice is definitely worth the squeeze in this process. Now let's place the positive boot over the positive battery terminal for protection and call it a job well done. Now don't forget to ensure your battery hold down is in place. I put mine on after completing this project. A shaking battery will destroy itself earlier than you want it to. At the end of the day, a proper procedure done right will keep you happily on the road. This is Greeno. Thank you for watching.